Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Weplay Invitational with TCM and AT-Gaming. This is the second game of the first best of 3, with the first game almost going to AT-Gaming with a strong early game start, but TCM bringing it back in the late game. I am Pulse and I'm joined by Spuddington.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed Pulse, who doesn't fit into either category. I'm interested actually to see what AT-Gaming choose to go with, because honestly, the fact that Riven is banned out could be a problem for them if they want to run the same team composition again. But that last game was so close; they could have won it with just with a slightly better smite. Which is one of the unfortunate facts about life if you are playing a snowbally composition like that. But if they choose to go with a much more conventional team composition, more like what TCM was running, I actually have to wonder, would they be able to straight up outplay TCM like that?
They did very well in the laning phase. It was kind of off the back of Riven getting that first blood in that initial fight at level 1, and then the continuous jungle ganks, which really helped them in their early game. And then it was very difficult for Nureterador to really gank any lane that wasn't Jax, which did help them out in the long run, but you can't count on that happening every single game. But at the same time, you can't count on you getting first blood every single game. So it depends what they want to run. I could definitely see it working, but perhaps that's the playstyle that AT-Gaming run every game, Spuddington. We can't say that maybe they should swap up styles because it doesn't suit them.
Yeah, it's always difficult to answer that kind of a question. They have gone for a much safer composition thus far. Gragas, in terms of laning, he's just a big ball of difficult to gank, because obviously displacement has that dash to get himself out, inbuilt sustain, inbuilt damage reduction, generally difficult to deal with, and can farm from a long range with barrels. So it does look like it's going to be a somewhat less aggressive mid lane this game, but they have taken quite a few other picking champions here. Lee Sin and Fiddlesticks both function very well, thanks to their CC and Assassination respectively. TCM, on the other hand, look like they are orientating themselves once again towards a fairly late game orientated comp. They've got Jax, they got Zyra, and they were contemplating Caitlyn before.
Indeed, and now we're looking at AT-Gaming's composition. It could go either way, but I would probably still say they would still lean towards a more early game snowballing composition that peaks in the mid game. And especially with Lee Sin, that's kind of what you have to go for, unless you really carry Lee Sin into the late game and use him as just a picking bot. Because apart from that, he doesn't offer all that much damage. You can't afford to build him or go for damage items in the jungle, or you'll just die. So the fact that they have Gragas still leans towards a mid-game composition, and in response, TCM pick up Olaf, which worked out, and they have Disengage in the form of Zyra, and they have a very strong mid-game AP carry. It just looks like TCM all over. Strong team fight, and that can play very well reactively, no matter where they are at any stage in the game.
Yeah, it's a very flexible style. And I want to just talk a little bit about Ahri, because I don't know if you would agree with me when I say this, Pulse, but Ahri recently has had a little bit of a bad rep, hasn't done that brilliantly from what we have, since the nerfs. You're much less likely to see people picking up Ahri. But I've got to say, yesterday, when I was casting with metas, we saw an absolutely amazing series of Ahri plays. I'm now hesitating because I am not sure I can remember the actual name of the player, because I have literally no memory at all. But essentially, essentially that one game last night really actually changed my opinion quite significantly on how strong Ahri is as a character. If you know what you're doing with her, you're actually still a huge threat. It requires you to play a little bit more focused on getting your AoE damage from Orb of Deception down by using the positioning on your ult, but there is always that side of Assassination, and also, Singed. It's Singed. Isn't that exciting? It's Singed.
Indeed, but it's AT-Gaming, so it could be a placeholder. We don't know just yet, but we did have the last game, so it could be a placeholder, but Singed, interesting. Like, late game, Singed is amazing. His laning phase can be good against certain matchups, but we just haven't seen a Singed in such a long time. I don't know. What do you think about this, Funnington? Because against what he already knows will be the top lane of Jax, how do you think that's going to go?
Well, traditionally, Singed is pretty solid against Jax. Jax doesn't have the ability to force him out early, and after a while, Jax might get enough sustain to deal with Singed by just tanking the minions, but he's never going to get to that point where Singed can literally not do anything against Jax. He can always just clear the minions with his poison and ignore Jax for a while. That also means that they have that little capacity to get Jax behind early on, because Singed does set up ganks well, does have early good damage against him, so it's a good pick in general. Question is why they are going for it in terms of a team fight composition. I think it's just because they're looking for some serious disruption against Ashe, against Zyra in that backline. But at the same time, that does mean he's going to be very much locked in to going against Ashe. And not a lot of other targets would really mind being thrown out of position.
It's pretty funky, Swellington, either way. Like, Vayne also coming in here, she's got a decent peel, but obviously Singed, as you said, won't be flipping the guys on the front line because they won't really care. Lee Sin can use his ultimate as peel. They can also be Gragas using his ultimate as peel, but it's probably going to be their source of initiation in this team composition. And then you've just got Terrify from Fiddlesticks, which isn't the most terrifying thing in the world, funnily enough, especially if you just itemize like a Quicksilver Sash and you have that person who's diving onto you, have that, especially when it's most likely going to be Olaf. So it's an interesting composition. We'll see how this goes, but we will be jumping to a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we'll be in the second game with AT Gaming and TCM Gaming. We'll be back soon.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to AT Gaming versus TCM. Still in the round of 16 in the Weplay Invitational League tournament. I am Spuddington, joined once again by Pulse. And I gotta say, we were discussing in the break right now, Pulse. A lot of this game is gonna fall on Sean's shoulders.
It is, yeah. Do you want to follow up on that point, or should I take it?
No, you may as well for now, because it could be a
Okay.
level 1 fight.
Indeed, and that was, we find ourselves in a better position, but TCM are just going to wander around the side. I don't want to pick up on that point just yet, Spuddington, because it is quite a meaty point, and we will be talking about for some time, and especially if they go for a level 1 team fight again, we don't want to be going into that just yet. So, AT Gaming have, well, seen what TCM are doing, and also, I'm not even sure if they saw them backing out, honestly. I don't think they did. Neuroterror's going to be recalling in that jungle, and they've just gone for the early bits of vision. But AT Gaming, well, going to go for the invasion themselves. Well, Zyton is by himself.
Well, it seems like Zyton has decided that this is a safe place to be. A little bit riskily, perhaps, because they didn't see them leave. So, okay, well, whatever. I guess he just made the call. They can't still be there because I think so. So, could have gone wrong, but as it was, I guess it was like a risky play in a way, but only because Zyton... But the worst thing that could happen would be one kill on Zyton, and he would have been able to respawn and get back into lane, so it would have been disastrous. So, going back to that point we were going to discuss about, although Naruteridor is now going for an invade himself along with the rest of the team. The ward spotting out Sean's there does mean they know that they can go for the red trade, and in the end it will balance out.
Indeed, they were sitting right on top of the ward, and JWow's going to find Singe as he heads on up here. We'll be able to get that bit of early damage onto him. Auto attack followed by the counter strike, and a few more auto attacks. Won't want to follow all the way, obviously, because of the poison trail. And down in the bot lane, then Naruteridor will be taking away the red buff. So, Spuddington, take it away. Why will Sean's need a big impact on the early game?
Right, Pulse. Okay, so... large part of this is in the fact that TCM's late game composition this game is once again incredibly powerful. AT Gaming this game have a lot stronger late game than they did last game, but they are going to have to contend with the fact that TCM's is probably a little bit stronger just because of how much crowd control they have, how strong their front line is. Now, the problem from from TCM's perspective, is that early game champions aren't that great. They aren't particularly high damage. They're not going to set up a lot of kills themselves. And that suits Olaf just fine. He's going to be able to farm himself up as best he can. Maybe appear for a gank if there's a big opportunity. Now, the flip side of that, though, is Lee Sin. He is kind of running on a clock. He needs to make his team get that, only a small advantage. He only needs a little bit. But it's going to be very, very difficult for him to do so because both of these teams, TCM specifically, is running very, very safe lanes. It's very, very difficult to gank Jax, very, very difficult to gank Zyra Ashe, very, very difficult to gank Ahri, especially if she keeps it frozen where she is right now. That means that Sean's needs to find opportunities, and there aren't going to be a lot of them. He is actually going for the bottom of the gank right now.
He's level 4. This is a level 2 Matrocco. He's also been exhausted. Oh, he leaves the flash as well. First blood picked up by Zytion, and Barney D drops so low. We'll be recalling back to base, but man, that lead from Sean's.
Really, really nice, and that's the kind of thing we're talking about. He needs to find opportunities where there aren't any. He found one right there. I would never have been able to make that gank work, but just sheerly based off his mechanics, he gets it done. Now Naruteridor going to go and steal away some wolves, but I think Sean's would take that trade any day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is exactly how they need to set up their early game, Spuddington. We spoke a little about their team fights, and you said you liked it. I was like, kind of in the middle there, but because it doesn't matter really what Zytius does in the top lane. TCM aren't really going to care in the team fight. I'm going to hold that thought for a second, as we do have Olaf in the mid lane. Lapras, well, as we've mentioned, very difficult to gank. And honestly, their lanes are pretty difficult to gank on TCM's perspective, and as a result, Naruto is going to walk on out. But when it comes to team fights, Vayne doesn't have all that much peel. She's not going to be able to peel an Olaf because Ragnarok. And yes, she can maybe zone away JWow, but JWow is fairly easy to kite anyway because he's playing Jax. He's kind of relying on his ability to just jump on you, do enough damage, and allow everyone else to finish you off. And that's still something they'll have available to them.
It does mean, though, from Vayne's perspective, the only thing she needs to be afraid of particularly is Olaf. Jax himself is not going to find it easy to dive onto Vayne and stun her up. You can always condemn him or tumble away. Olaf has that longer kind of, over a longer period, will stick harder than Jax because he just ults and ghosts and runs at you. But the flip side of that is that Olaf will have a little bit of trouble dealing with that stealth unless he's carrying an Oracle's or a Pink Ward. That will give Crazy Caps, you know, just that half a second, but that's a significant proportion of Ragnarok's total time extra to keep himself alive, assuming he's able to use that effectively. So, you know, it is a debatable point, as you said. You may disagree with me slightly, but I think Vayne will actually do all right in those late game team fights. The problem is just how much crowd control they're up against.
Yeah, indeed, and we can debate about it all day, Splittington, but it's going to come down to these different types of situations and indeed the execution from both of these teams. So we can Furycraft as much as we want, but it could be a different outcome entirely. JWoww actually ignites Zeratrius in the top lane, and well, his play here is just to kind of run away as fast as possible. Flash comes down, and the exhaust comes out. Wow, I didn't even realize he was running exhaust, and then he just walks on out.
That's actually a really interesting thing. I didn't notice it either, but that is telling about what he's planning in late game team fights. He's planning to be an extra source of appeal. He's got that ultimate though. This is going to be a 2-on-2. JWoww could be the target.
Yeah, pops out of the brush using the ultimate as well, flips him over the shoulder, and Sean's also there. He lands the kill, he will follow up, and Neurotarador caught between, well, a pretty angry Singe, but he's also trying to take down Lee Sin. He can definitely do this. He could potentially 2 versus 1, but he's now been flung into the poison trail, still ticking down, can't quite finish him off. Very well played from AT Gaming, but Belgian Beast comes into the top lane, does possess the Spirit Rush, but doesn't choose to use it.
Yeah, a little bit difficult to burst down Xerius, and as it happens, he will get that little bit of an edge. You can see it now. If he can get a couple of kills, he will be able to just lead Jax around by the nose, and that gives him that advantage of just being able to farm up and then push out to take stuff. But Belgian Beast going aggressive, and he's going to get this.
He's found the opportunity, flip over the shoulder, and now he uses the final charge of Spirit Rush. In fact, he stopped for a second. He's in this awkward situation, but he's following Singed. Oh, he can't quite get it. He doesn't have the mana. Oh, Singe gets out alive.
That Foxfire tracks on the minion. GG, this W. Okay, I can make predictions that are wrong. He did. I knew Belgian Beast wouldn't get him there. Okay, so
it looks so certain.
It did. It really did. So nice play though by Xerius. Really flipping over at the right time, avoiding a lot of skill shots in that fight. Close run stuff though. Does waste a lot of Belgian Beast's time though. That makes him more vulnerable when he gets back to that mid lane. You may actually see Shawns go for a gank there. Gragas has explosive cask. He can either look to try and roam, push up while Ahri isn't there, or set up a gank on her, either of which is very, very viable right now. He's actually going to head off and pick up his blue, but he still has the opportunity to do all of those things once that's over.
Yeah, indeed, and once again, Splittington, it is Team Doran's items, as Jax has gone for 3 Doran's items, 2 Doran's blades and the Doran's shield, and Ash has picked up 3 Doran's blades. So clearly looking to try and get into that mid-game and itemize efficiently. Well, Zaitin coming up and finds himself Olaf, will be pushing him away from this red buff. Undertow comes out, and they should be able to defend this. However, Belgian Beast also coming around the side. We could see a small jungle scrap as Crazy Caps will be tumbling outside of the grasping roots.
Yeah, Belgian Beast still didn't have his ultimate. Otherwise, most likely would have tried to set up that fight there by ulting in and charming Vayne, but wasn't able to get it done. Didn't have the ability as a consequence of that failed attempt on Singe's life in the top lane. So, both teams resetting mostly, but now Terrador is after Lapras.
Indeed, and also lands this charm. This is surely a dead Gragas. Will be body flopping out of there and throws the barrel in there for good measure. Not sure if he entirely needs to do that, but it is going to be slightly annoying.
Well, it did serve the purpose. If Belgian Beast had used an additional ult charge, which I believe he did have before the explosive cast, he could have jumped over the barrel, essentially, and that would have split them up, taken Belgian Beast under the tower there, and that would have been really bad for Belgian Beast. So it was potentially a play predicated on that happening, but didn't end up happening after all. So continuing brawl in this top lane, I've got to say, JWoww, he's doing a pretty good job considering he's behind early, but he's actually starting to not quite bully him out, but make Xeria's life difficult.
Yeah, like he's trading effectively, and that's still scary for Singe, because while Singe can do pretty well against Jax, you're always going to hit that stage where he just yules you and he kills you regardless. He'll still be able to just run away from him, especially because he's running exhaust, but just that fact is quite scary. And he's already out CSing Singed. Yes, he's running the free Doran's item, so that will be sold at some point and won't be quite as efficient as he goes into later mid-game, late game, but for the kind of short term, he's doing very well for himself. And yet more Doran's blades have been picked up.
Wow, yeah, that is a lot of Doran's blades, and you can see TCM-Gaming don't hold quite the same opinion. They are running with quite a few less than that, but Sean's in the mid.
Oh, Dragon Rage comes out to start off the trade as Belgian Beast gets knocked away from his turret. He's out of mana, and the body slam comes in for the kill.
Hey, Belgian Beast, do you like football? It turns out that there is quite a lot of displacement there from TCM-Gaming, but the fact they did just lose quite a lot of health, quite a few ults, means TCM feel confident enough to go for this dragon play. However, Zaichin is over the wall, he does have Crowstorm, and the rest of his team is converging. This could get messy. TCM are thinking, actually, man, this could get messy.
Yeah, and indeed, they do back on off. However, the dragon didn't quite reset. They're looking for this still to happen. Enchanted Crystallara comes down, and the Stranglefont comes up. Surely Lapras is going to fall. Indeed, he will to the last auto attack from Matrocco. And neither team really want to go for the dragon at the moment. But in top lane, well, oh, Cinch is farming, never mind. So,
farming.
Indeed, who would have thought?
Yes, indeed. And that actually, that fight at bottom lane around the Dragon Pit was kind of a microcosm of the problems you may see emerging for TCM-Gaming in the super late game. The amount of crowd control coming out.
Oh, Zaician. Yeah, he's charged up the Crystal. Will be jumping up the Barney D. There is no escape from this one. And unfortunately, Fiddlesticks picks up the kill. But either way, they should be able to siege away at this turret. However, a huge collapse looking to happen from TCM as Neuroterador comes in from the side. Who does Fiddlesticks choose to fear? He's probably going to be sacrificing himself either way as Belgian Beast comes in. Spirit Rush has been popped. He flashes out regardless. Still, Ragnarok has been popped and will be picking up that kill.
It's okay, Crazy Caps. No one saw you condemn them. Regardless, though, that is going to be potentially a tower falling off of that, and indeed, you will see the flip side mid-tower going down. And it's actually probably going to favor AT a little bit. That will give them that little bit of an edge when it comes to positioning for the dragon. However, TCM could potentially go for the dragon or try and catch out Crazy Caps.
Yeah, they pick up a Vayne. That's even better, but he will get out with Tumble and Neuroterador. Doesn't want to go too deep on Vayne, who's on low mana and also low HP, more importantly. And we do have another potential collapse, this time from TCM-Gaming. Belgian Beast over the wall, revealed by the ward, and Gragas makes him aware of that fact. Just meaning that he can get his team away into safety.
Yeah, this is AT's dragon to take right now. JWoww knows is still in this top lane, but he knows he needs to be there if it kicks off. But it seems like TCM are just going to sacrifice that. They don't even have Ariel. Explosive card is up. They'll try and trade that top tower down, but it's already on full health, so unlikely to be able to get anything to work. They will steal away the blue buff as well, but I've got to say, I feel like Xerius could potentially regret not going to that top lane a little sooner.
True, but not only did they pick up the Drake, they can also make a potential play on the bot lane, and if they pick up a tower and then also trade the top lane, that also works out very well for them. JWoww also heads towards the blue buff, but realizes it's not up and also heads up to the top lane again, and the fact that, oh, I thought Xysis was recalling. Oh, he's recalling now. He must have stopped himself. He'll be able to go back up to the top lane. Huh?
He's actually shot by the Ash Arrow. I think she's trying to delay so Jax can push.
Yeah, they need that time. Plus, he committed that time to go towards the blue buff, and now they have the timing on it. So they're going to realize that's up, and they will go for that 3-man invade. One of the reasons he's just walking past the tower, just so he's able to react. Jump over the wall, and he finds himself a very angry Olaf, who pops himself into Ragnarok. Belgian Beast from the side also uses the Spirit Rush. 2 charges already down, and JWoww has reacted. That's a dead Lapras, and now Zetrius from the side, not able to do all that much, and Lee Sin will walk into the mid lane.
And that's the kind of benefit you can... Oh, Scumbag red buff. That's the kind of play you can make based on a very small amount of time wasted using that Ash Arrow. Stopping Sin from recalling meant he wasn't there for that fight, meant TCM were able to get those kills, get that advantage, take that blue buff. Xerius now is going to be able to push out the top lane, but that tower isn't dropping anytime soon, and the parallel mid lane Neuroterador, he's going to be able to take down that tower relatively quickly if he chooses to go for it. I guess he was feeling a little bit scared. Crazy Caps and Zaichin had not been seen for quite a while and were in fact taking over.
Yeah, and they didn't really have the vision either on the map. They only have one ward on the map at the moment, and it's in bot lane. So not having that vision is not really an option to just push down the mid lane. In fact, that's what we saw last time with JWoww unable to really make the engagement happen in the top lane. He pushed, Ribbon killed him. So they're quite aware of that fact. And oh my god, the damage from Jax, trading off very efficiently against Singe. And also even better when there are Terradors here, looking for that initiation with Counter-Strike, has timed off, and Singe walks back in and says hello.
And that's what Singe does. He popped that. They popped the ultimate. That's all Nary was aiming for there. However, that does mean no ultimate available for Singe. But the flip side of that is he is now actually running between the lanes pretty darn quickly. They were looking to try and make a play off of that. But I actually kind of wonder whether Xerius might have done well to run behind the tower when that gank happened and just start abducting the minions in case they went for it.
Lycion over the wall with the Crow Storm, and we'll be picking up yet another kill, and Chanta Cristoaro comes across, will be taken down for his troubles, and the rest of the team is here to converge on their location. JWoww from the top lane, looking to take down Singe. He's dropping very slowly, but he will eventually die. Meanwhile, Lapras gets out of dodge, body slam through the wall. Crazy Cap's in the bot lane, but TCM making a strong push down the mid lane.
Incredible lockdown, just chaining off an Ash Arrow. Gets them the kills, gets them the tower. However, Vayne still pushing down that bottom, has already taken down one tower. Gragas will be able to slow down this push from TCM. That's going to cost them a little bit, but they will be actually... I'm not sure if Crazy Cap's going to be able to take that tower or not. Belgian Beast is heading down there, has ult, no ignite and no Deathfire Grasp as of yet. Crazy Caps needs to watch himself though.
Yeah, and the minions weren't quite up to the tower, so he was indeed forced to back off. Belgian Beast clears it out with Orb Deception, and all is right. So, AT come out ahead, and sorry, TCM come out ahead in that trade.
But, once again, AT Gaming right now for a team, again, which we know a lot of, we've seen quite a few times, although they have changed the lineup since we've seen them the most of the time. They're going blow for blow right now. They are on very even terms. Maybe there is that slight late game difference, but there's also a very slight gold difference at the moment. And Vayne is always going to be a major threat. This isn't the kind of game like last game where AT Gaming, if they hit late game on equal terms, have lost. It's the kind of game where they have a very mild disadvantage if it hits late game. So I really am actually looking forward to seeing how this game progresses. AT Gaming at the moment really are doing a good job of juggling all the things they need to be doing.
Yeah, indeed, and plus TCM have essentially been building Doran's items to augment the early game to allow them to transition better, means that they're going to be itemizing less efficiently, and that's some gold down the drain when we hit the late game phase, Splittington. And the fact that AT Gaming are still ahead right now, and they don't really scale off, that's going to favour them the further we go onto the game, but not a dead Vayne was Matroco, and Chanta Cristoaro comes down. He will still be trading off against him, knocks him against the wall, he flashes over the Strangleforce. This could be a kill in return. He cancelled the auto attack animation, barrier has been popped, 1-for-1 trade.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, however, mass dive going on to JWoww. 3 men, and they get the tower. So that's actually going to favor AT Gaming, in position to take objectives off the back of their kill, whereas TCM not able to do anything like that. I'm actually a little bit surprised Xerius didn't just tank a couple of tower shots there, but going to be taking down this tower relatively quickly, actually. 3 men pushing.
Indeed, they are taking that very quickly indeed. The extra AD from Gragas from his W will be paying dividends, but Belgian Beast from behind, in fact, they are looking to collapse. Only 2 members here just yet. Ash coming from base. They might be looking to cut them off as they turn this corner. Sean has been caught by the grassing roots, and the ultimate has been popped from Belgian Beast. Lapras comes forward and picks up one. Huge body slam comes out, but Zaichin over the wall. The ultimate will be doing massive amounts of damage, and Ash is finally coming into the action. Belgian Beast dropping incredibly low, though. Undertow has hit Sean on the backside, and it will be following after as well. Still, barrels are being offered by Lapras. Just a bit of damage off to the side. Undertow picks up the kill and the shutdown onto Lee Sin. Oh, huge Gragas arrow. Gragas barrel knocks him back, not a Gragas arrow.
That actually is his body slam. It's the Gragas arrow.
The Gragas arrow.
Majestic.
Coining it now.
So anyway, Dragon going to be picked up by Crazy Caps, however, and that is an advantage for him. And I want to just note, he has actually been taking a lot of time to get himself farmed up this game. They've done a good job of positioning themselves so that he can get that farm. So triple Doran's Ash and a Bloodthirster. She's not going to be scaling up for a long time, whereas Vayne is already starting to get pretty scary, actually, I think you can say. Blade of the Rune King and Ezreal, probably got enough gold to finish off a Shiv if she's going for that.
Indeed, and look at the ward coverage in the top jungle as a result of that fight. As the fight was progressing, so many wards were being dropped, so they have absolute vision over that Baron they won't be taking.
Yes, well, unless they could be NYM, they could be going for the 15-minute two-man Baron. Which I mean, I would never mock a call made by a team that was on a previous day. You should check that out. That was funny.
Indeed. So, in the top lane, JWelf still farming away, and he is their late game threat, which they will be wanting to farm up as much as possible. And Olaf, once again, is in fact doing very well. The fact he's got 4 kills is actually really, really bad for AT. If he was behind right now, and even if the kills had gone to his lanes, yes, that would have been bad for the short term, but at least Olaf would still have to be farming up. The fact he's got triple Darins and he's already on his way to some big items, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, this is the stage of the game where they're going to have to start paying for this number of Dorans, though. You can see he's pretty much out of item slots, and that might delay his Warden's Mail, or he'll have to sell an item to get that. So, could get messy, but at the moment it does seem like it's not a problem. He obviously hasn't recalled. They may look for Lapras in the mid lane. He's just going to be getting himself out very, very carefully indeed. I want to note, again, Vayne is off in the bot lane, solo farming.
As long as they can hold them off and make sure that they're not just taking towers, Vayne can continue to do so. They're still going to have to commit at least one person, and we know it can't be Ashe at this stage. Also, TCM finding it very difficult to push down the mid lane. Very good wave clear comes in from AT Gaming. Not only do they have Lapras, but they also have Lee Sin and Fiddle just to offer a little bit as well. But they're just letting Vayne farm the bot lane and indeed push their tower. What is TCM doing? They're still looking to push down the mid lane, but they still have Lapras' ultimate available. He will use that to clear the minion wave. Naruterador going to face tank some of this, and Ashara comes out. It delays Lapras. Sean's will potentially fall, but the jump over the wall from Fiddlesticks is enough to keep them away. Naruterador is still split from his team. Belgian Beast cannot catch up to him. Top lane still being stalled out. He walks back through their jungle, but in the meantime, Vayne pushing all day.
And that brilliant Fiddlesticks ult, he knew exactly what was coming. He knew Olaf felt he was tanky enough to dive. And indeed, Olaf was correct in that. But by jumping over the wall when they were already committed, he divided the team in half, forced them to try and disengage, and forced them to disengage in 2 different directions. It was a fight that was a draw that no one came out on top of, but it was a 4v3, and that commitment of manpower has meant that Crazy Caps, in addition to farming himself up now to second highest in the game, has taken 2 towers off of the back of it and exposed an inhibitor. That is a massive, massive windfall for AT Gaming.
Incredibly good, and they will just continue to push. There was no reason not to at this stage, especially when TCM are committing them so hard to going for these pushes. It's bizarre. It was a very confident play, but they had the confidence with nothing to back it up. And Vayne, as you can see, is continuing to push the bot lane. Who are they going to commit? They can't commit Ashe. It's probably going to have to be Jax, but Jax is still in the top lane. It's a little curious. Don't you think that they should commit the Jax to the bot lane? They don't need Jax to be in the top lane farming, but at the same time, they need to stop Vayne from taking their inhibitor.
The problem is, though, that no one can duel Singed other than Jax. Singed is actually losing slowly. Can you hear me?
Hello? Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I thought something had gone wrong there. I was wrong. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, everything is still functioning, including the duct tape. Right, so part of the so you heard my point about the fact that only Singed can be dueled by Jax.
Yes.
The problem is the only one who can duel Vayne is also Jax, and that means they're forced to choose between stopping one of those 2 threats from split pushing. At the moment, they're stopping Singed, but if they let him go, he will be able to clear that, and he will actually be able to draw in more people to force him to stop pushing than Vayne can. She can only 1v1. She can draw in 2 people and then she can run, and there is the potential for that to go wrong if she gets caught out. She's squishy. Thing is, though, if Singed is allowed to push and doesn't have to deal with Jax in the process of doing that, they'd have to commit 2, 3 people to stop him pushing, and they would never kill him. There's no potential for a screw up there. That's why they're not committing Jax, but it looks like they've opted now to stop the Vayne farming, because at least Singed, if you don't stop him from pushing, he's not going to farm up into quite as much of a huge threat as Vayne.
Yeah, oh, Ashe arrow from nowhere hits Ician right in the face and will be followed up by the rest of his team. But again, the support's getting all the kills this game.
Yeah, a little bit odd that they did not donate that one, but that will actually be a real windfall for TCM. They were starting to lose control of this game, dealing with the Vayne farm, but there's still this potential for them to fight. Jax is a little ways off. This could kick off, and it could get ugly for either team here. The TCM cannot start the Baron, though, surely.
No, well, are they going to try and make this power play? They are indeed. They're thinking about, they're kind of hesitating around this area. Also with Jaywa off to the side, if they do try and interrupt, if they'll be forced into a team fight, and they could still probably do that. They've cornered themselves in the river, and Jaywa is still off to the side. So if they go for the team fight, they will be going for this. They're going to jump onto Jaywa first, but he can delay them. That's a perfect counter strike onto Free. They can't quite connect the dots and they can't quite stun them down, but Barney takes so much damage and he jumps in aggressively. Vayne picks up one, and the knockback from Zytius in the top lane will be picking up one, and a huge battle from Lapras picks up another. Nariterador running for his life. Matraco will be picked up on top of that. That's a 3-for-0 trade on top of a perfect engagement from TCM-Gaming.
Unbelievable manliness from Crazy Caps. Vayne jumping forward. It was bronze 5 plays right there, except brilliantly done, and it worked out beautifully for them. He baited in several cooldowns. They never saw it coming, and he was able to kill one, then jump onto the next one and dodge out the way of the damage. So good from Crazy Caps jumping in like that. And that's the kind of thing you'll see from a really great AD carry. Not just staying safe, knowing when to go ham.
It reminds me so much of Uzi from Royal Club, who jumped in and used himself as basically the ball carrier and also the initiation using Wildgrave. Oh, the initiation also from Ash, though, is even better with Belgian Beast. He immediately deletes Zytian, looking to follow up onto the rest of the team, but they get their pick.
Yeah, that is right now what's keeping TCM in the game. Sheerly that Ashe arrow catching people out. But the problem is, Ashe is also what's pushing them out of the game because she can't deal with Vayne. So it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. They may be able to take this dragon, and they may be able to get Lapras.
Yep, they hit him with the undertow. He did steal away their blue buff, so they're quite angry at this stage. But Crazy Caps is also their final hour is still, in fact, come off cooldown. Nariterador is very low. She auto-attacks the plan. Well, auto-attack picks up one, the auto-attack, and the shutdown comes in for JWoww. And now they will find themselves a very easy dragon.
Shutdown for JWoww, but also the shutdown for Vayne. That's actually 500 gold going her way, so nice little windfall for her, but not worth it considering they lost the dragon. And I think Belgian Beast was a little bit alert to the possibility that he would get condemned there. He was smart about angling it so that the condemn did not land. However, that doesn't really change too much about the pace of the game right now. The only thing that is a concern for TCM-Gaming right now is they do want to be taking advantage of what they've got. Now, with that bottom inhib down, Zytian clearing out that Baron area, I think that's what they're going to be looking for. And Baron just decides to randomly aggro on him. They probably are going to go for the Baron force, even if they don't start it off. Start it off.
Yeah. It's gonna...
My words today, they come out, they don't make any sense.
Indeed, but they can take it very quickly, especially with a Vayne, and it does look like they're gearing up to make this type of play. Letting Vayne pick up the red buff, and then they'll probably start to converge on that area, and there's no reason for TCM not to do the same thing, apart from the fact that bottom lane is pushing. They're going to have to commit at least one person there, and they're going to have to choose who that's going to be, but at the same time be able to contest this. They don't have any teleports and ways to get up there very quickly for that person at bot lane.
Yeah, Ashe, at least if she's farming bot lane, can still contribute by virtue of the arrow. But what I'm seeing right now is Vayne sneaking around towards that bottom lane. I wonder, she could chase down Ashe one-on-one. I wonder if they're going to try and bait out a 4-on-4 at the Baron and just rely on Vayne's ability to murder Ashe one-on-one if she's in that bottom lane. Actually looks like she's given up on that idea, has returned back towards the rest of her team. It's a dancing game, and I've got to say, this is actually somewhat where TCM-Gaming fell down in the first game of this best of 3.
Yeah, however, Vayne's cleanup potential is basically a toss-up between do you commit Vayne and then they'll commit Jax, and who do you favour more? Probably keeping the Vayne so she's got the cleanup potential, and plus she's your AD carry, and she's more valuable than Jax at this stage in the game, even though he is farming incredibly well. Actually perfectly so, in fact, 278 farm. So As long as they can keep them split, they're in good shape. But JWoww is making sure that if they do go for the engagement, that they come from two sides, and he's the one coming from the backside, and the one who can immediately get onto that back line, making it very difficult for them to kite away, because Jax's, one of his biggest problems, honestly, is getting kited. But now he's picked up the Blade of the Rune King, and he also has the Phage from Trinity Force. When he's already on the back line, it's going to be very difficult for them to peel him off.
Indeed it will, and I slightly have to question why that Zyra plant isn't aggroing Baron, and actually also worth
That's
noting,
interesting, yeah.
Barney D is running out of wards at this point. He's only got 2 more. At the moment they're playing a delaying game while AT wait for the bot lane to push out and wait to get some poke down, and TCM wait for the gold difference to decrease, but they're going to catch an arrow.
Ragnarok has been forced out. Oh, the barrel from Lapras picks up one. Is that Zaishin? It doesn't even matter though, they will be moving onto this Baron, and there's very little that TCM can do about it. With the bot lane still pushing, they're going to have to make this commitment if they want to go for it. Stranglehold is available to them, along with Spirit Rush. Are they going to try and make this steal happen as well? They have the Smite, and TCM do not. In fact, Lee Sin will be picking that one up, and they had to commit someone to that minion wave.
Yes, indeed. Ozirius is going for Montrocco, he can't run.
He's so slow, and also the exhaust paying dividends. Pops over the back of Singed, will be picked up by Lapras with a smooth barrel. And now with Neroterador down and Matroco both in the death chamber, they're going to go straight for this mid lane. Zaichin gets exploded, but that's a ton of their burst committed to that. Oh, the Kraken's barrel comes off cooldown. Barney D takes another one to his facial region, but Sean throws out the Q, hits Neroterador, and their play right now is to try and do enough damage to the Nexus turrets the inhibitor has, however, spun, and he will be picking up this. Do they overstay? Matroco, 15 seconds left on his death timer, and Zerius will be backing on off, but JWoww gets the stun onto him. They're looking for this re-engagement, but Crazy Caps is off to the side. They have to be so careful with this that he doesn't just kill all of them. In the meanwhile, he did pick up the middle turret. Neroterador still wants this re-engage to happen, with the Undertow coming out and only hits Lee Sin. They will eventually be backing off, and now a huge minion in the top wave draws more attention.
Yeah, so close run stuff there actually a little bit for AT Gaming. They were on the verge of losing Singed and hence not having a strong enough front line, and for JWoww to go crazy man mode kind of clean up for them. Didn't end up happening as it was, but at the same time, Crazy Caps was not able to take that second inhib, so they've reset, got that first inhib down again, and opened up the second inhib. With the Baron buff, with the gold advantage, and with the fact that their team is stronger late game than they were last game, it looks like they are succeeding where they previously were not able to. They are starting to crush TCM out of this game, and that is a really scary prospect for TCM because they don't have a lot of answers. They still, however, do have that massive amount of crowd control in the team fight scenario, but JWoww is going to have to recall he can't split push.
Something we haven't really seen yet, Splittington, is a straight 5-on-5 team fight, and I think that would honestly favour TCM a lot more, but it's always someone getting caught, or them being engaged on in a less favourable circumstance, sort of like this one. Gragas barrel comes down, hits Belgian Beast and knocks him away. They're still looking to pick up the inhibitor, take a couple skill shots to the face as a result of that, but they're not going to be too concerned as the Poison Trail comes out, making sure they can't really follow up. 2 inhibitors down, and it's only going to get worse. They're just going to push in the top lane.
Yep, they will indeed do that. They've still got a decent amount of time on that Baron buff, about 2/3 of it gone, and why not carry on pushing? Now it's an even bigger pressure on the bottom and the mid lane to deal with for TCM, and JWoww going for a little bit of a laugh play there. He'll demoralize his opponents into their defeat. It does seem at the moment, though, that the only possible risk for them is if Crazy Caps gets a little too keen to poke down that tower. There is a lot of catch potential from TCM.
Yeah, indeed, and if they take down the Vayne, then the team fight is looking a whole lot better. Belgian Beast down to about 60% now, and he can't really afford to recall, so any poke that AT Gaming do at this stage is going to stick. Well, they commit one person back as the minion wave is kind of falling in line. But still, more damage comes onto it. They committed Olaf back to base, but he's got the engagement, the potential of the home guard boots. From Transcritical Arrow comes in for the engagement. perfect Stranglethorns will split off the team as well. Fiddlesticks Ultimate comes in, clears out the minion line, knockback from JWoww, actually probably reduces the damage in the long run. Belgian Beast is so incredibly low. Matroco is trying to do as much as he can. He's still on the front lines though, and now they begin the siege, and TCM can't afford to fight this. But the Mega Adhesive comes onto the ground, forces Barney D back. Neuroterador tries to take down Lapras, but they're going incredibly deep without their team behind them, buying time perhaps for Belgian Beast, but he doesn't have the full rotation of his combo, and it looks like the top inhibitor will be falling, and the minions are flooding in from the bot lane. But Belgian Beast has been flipped backwards. They took down Crazy Caps. Could this be the comeback time we're looking for? Probably not, because they're forcing JWoww to play tower defense, and he's losing this battle.
They're drowning right now. There's too many super creeps. We've got one tower going down. Lapras may choose to just stay in and apply pressure and get a kill with the explosive cast at max range. But at this point, TCM have got no answer. They cannot hold off against this many minions at the same time as the pressure that's come out. You saw them unable to hold on to their other inhibitor tower, and it's only just gotten a huge amount worse. Crazy Caps died, yes. I think he actually didn't see Naruterador, the stealth barbarian, but it doesn't matter in this situation. He's going to respawn, rebuy items, and now the whole team is together, ready to push for the win. There's only one tower between them and game 3 of this series.
Indeed, and well, the inhibitors won't be spawning for some while yet. Baron, 2 minutes on that timer, and they just need to pick up their buffs. Gonna give that red buff to Crazy Caps, gonna give the blue buff to Grakas, group puff and push down the mid lane, and then it's probably going to be a fight that TCM can't win. So, right now, what are their options? Sit in their base and hope that they outplay AT Gaming.
That's basically it. You have to, at this point, it's not in the hands of TCM whether they win or not. If AT Gaming really screw up massively in their execution here, you know, Crazy Caps just rolls the wrong direction and rolls into the enemy team, and then from that they're able to get a clean up ace, maybe from that something could happen. But assuming AT Gaming play slowly, methodically, don't make any mistakes, this game is going their way. They will be able to take this inhibitor unless this engage happens right now.
Oh, they have the home guard boots, and they're going to try and attempt it. Singed is the one who is slowly being knocked down, but Natraco and Belgian Beast took so much damage. JWoww jumps in and will be knocked back in turn. He has the Guardian Angel, but he's being chunked by those bruisers. Meanwhile, Crazy Caps just decimates Neuroterador 4 versus 5, and that's the GG well played being called. Crazy Caps gets bursted as Belgian Beast pumps himself out of the base. Zaitian is also going to fall, but so is their Nexus.
No way they can stop that. Jump in all you like, JWoww. Literally, Singe just needs to sit there and hit the Nexus at this point. And really, I've got to say, this game firmly went in the favor of AT Gaming. And you know what I'm starting to wonder is, are they actually, maybe they last game and the game before and this game, they picked themselves a slightly, arguably worse team fighting team? But are they actually just straight up outplaying TCM in terms of their lane rotations, catches, and team fighting play?
Yeah, it's basically what you were saying during the break splitting. It's like, you said, I wonder if they pick a late game team composition that they would beat TCM. And I just kind of assumed that their playstyle was, well, we're super aggressive early game, and we're good at that lane, like, we're good at that phase in the game, so that's why we pick it. And that's where TCM were falling down, but they came up better in the late game because we know they're a more established team. They know how to play these lane rotations. But now that they did pick some sort of late game security, they had Singe, they had Vayne, it really benefited them, and they just simply outplayed TCM. Even with, well, TCM did pick themselves into slightly weaker lanes, but they were lanes that were very defensive, and Lee Sin did very well to pick up the pieces and make sure that all the pieces were in the right places. So, I don't know, Splittington. I think it just worked out because of circumstance, but it's difficult to say that over one series.
Certainly, AT Gaming have shown themselves, contrary to my expectations. I can now honestly tell you guys without needing to fear killing the hype. I can tell you, contrary to my expectations, AT Gaming have shown themselves to be at least the equals of TCM. They are a really, really good team, and we will be seeing a game 3 in this series. We are standing at 1-1. This is the decider. Guys, don't go anywhere. We will be getting the lobby up and the third game going as fast as we possibly can. Hold on to your seats. We'll be right back.
hold on to your seats in case they